Welcome all to the September 5th Wilton Town Board meeting. Just stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Supervisor Lant?
Here.
Deputy Supervisor McCachran?
Here.
Councilman Bogardus?
Absent.
Councilwoman Delegan? Here. And Councilman O'Connor?
Here. Thank you. Anybody signed up to speak? Get up there.
I'm sorry, you don't qualify.
Remember what I said?
Thank you for giving me 25 minutes.
This is great.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'm only here to speak about this quick explain today. I know it's not on the agenda, but I just feel compelled to come here because of all the work that was done in front of this board over the past year and a half on public training and on the whole solar thing. I just feel it's a public, I can speak about it. This last session, it's a very strange set of circumstances over there, in my opinion, on the zoning board meeting. There are several items that the zoning board has asked that Quaker Springs representative is supposed to give an answer for. I count Greenfield Fire Department questions. They wanted the Greenfield Fire Department to give them input on how they're going to fight the fires. The Greenfield Fire Department hasn't done that. So the Quaker Springs rep was just going on and on about how many fire trucks they have over there. Somehow the Gale representative brought up a $200,000 bond that they're going to offer for tragedies. I don't know if that's supposed to cover the $2 million that could be a tragedy for Norwood Drive that we've calculated, or the $23 million that we've calculated for the mile radius that could happen. So they are offering a $200,000 bond for a tragedy. That's all he said. First time I ever heard of this. Then they came up with the concerns. All of a sudden the board came up with a concern about power shutoff. The power shutoff is way on the other side of the field. Now, I didn't want to say this, but I'm going to say this to you folks. The power shutoff doesn't matter. You shut the power off over there at the converter, the power is coming from the solar panels. It's all still, it's still all, what do you call it, power charged. And the fire department has a rule they can't hit anything that's energized within 30 feet of a fire hose. And the whole space is taken up with high-powered equipment. So they've got serious technical problems over there, and they're going after a switch, and they don't really understand their own problems, actually. I'll tell you that. I didn't tell them that. So the town has asked Gale had to get something in writing from the railroad about the overpass and about the horn going by. They will not give them anything in writing, so they have failed to get anything in writing on that to the town. Then a new item came up on trees along the Northway. I think this has got to do with the county, because the county was complaining about that, okay? All of a sudden, there's a topic about trees, how high they're going to be, how short they're going to be. Okay, so the bottom line is there's a lot of items that are still wide open that they're discussing right now. A few minutes later, Chris Ramsdell voted to close the public session. So that would be all the conversations, and I understand it from the lawyer, from Mark, that if you close the public session, nothing substantial, or what was the rating on that, Mark?
Yes.
Let's be a little careful. Let's be a little careful. The public hearing was not closed. The public hearing remains open.
Right, but they voted to close it. Chris Ramsdell voted to close it, and then there were comments about it, and it remained open.
Hang on, I'd like to...
This is my public session, sir.
Well,
And I'm just telling you what I heard.
the supervisor asked me to chime in.
Oh, he did, okay.
Yes, he did. I'm a pretty polite person
15 minutes or whatever.
I don't just jump in unless I'm asked.
Well, you did with me a few times, but you were right. Go ahead.
There was discussion about possibly closing the public hearing, in which I offered some advice about that very issue. But I just want to make this very, very clear. The public hearing remains open, was not closed.
I concur. So, but you tried to close it. With all these open items, the only reason it remained open was one person said, I still have questions about that railroad crossing because there's an item open that first time I heard about it. Apparently there's no easement that the property owner doesn't have an easement, or there's a question about an easement. And that's what triggered one fellow said, I want to keep this open. And so they kept it open. Okay, because this issue about an easement, very first time it's come up. So now, after a year and 3/4, these are the type of questions that are flying around over at that meeting, and they want to go ahead and approve a variance. I just think it's just being this company is just not prepared, and they're not ready, and they don't have the knowledge either, and they don't have the knowledge to solve problems that they've been asked to solve. So I'm over on my time, I apologize.
Thank
But I
you.
did reach my conclusion, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark.
Anybody else? Michael, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
He doesn't want to be left
I
out.
just want to follow up on Ed's stuff. We, the residents, thought you guys put this to bed, and I feel you did, but yet they still have to come and fight. There was 10, 15 of them at the last zoning board meeting fighting. They shouldn't have to. When you guys said no to R2, end of story. You shouldn't, it shouldn't even be a topic. And people like Joe O'Brien, the zoning planning board should be told, we already made the decision. It's done and over with. And that's the way it should be. These poor people should not have to come here every month and fight for something they'd already fought for and won. So I think that maybe the town board should get the planning board on the same page as you guys and the same page as the Wilton residents. And we appreciate what you do, but they're fighting against you, against us. And it's all for one person's benefit, and that's a fact. So I think maybe the board should step up and put your foot down, if you can. If you can.
I think they understand what the board's position is based on the legislative changes that we made. And so the last thing you said, Mike, about if you can, there's a reason it's called the Independent Board of Assessment Review, and the planning board has, its own
Zoning board of
independence.
appeals, right?
This is all zoning board.
Zoning board of
Zoning
appeals.
board
Yeah.
appeals.
Sorry for interrupting.
And yet, when you did put this to bed, what we thought you
Yeah.
did say, we will fight this tooth and nail. We'll fight it to the end.
We will.
But yet, our own zoning board is going to make you possibly fight it and financially hurt the town,
Yeah.
because you're going to have to fight this.
Yeah, but we'll have to see
And you're
whether...
elected.
Sure.
They're appointed.
We'll have to see
You
whether...
should override it.
Yeah, but...
We don't know what the decisions are yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see where the ZBA goes.
Yeah, we need a decision
We'll take it
before
one
we
step
can
at a
make
time.
that.
Well, even so, before a decision's made, the decision we felt was made when you put it to the end, no R2.
Us too.
And it should have been done. But yet, certain people don't think that, and you should be overriding them. Like I said, elected, appointed.
Yep.
We're in constant communication.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. That it?
Yep, that's it.
Everybody read the August meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second? Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 7 Sorrow Lane. We have a report on it?
Mark Likens had taken pictures at about 4:30 today and he sent these over.
What was his feelings?
Wow. Well,
He said progress was made on the west side of the property on the road, from the road to the storage shed, and the path has been cleared to the front entry. There is still significant amount of debris on the east side of the home and to the rear of the property. There is still no clear path to the second means of egress from the home, and we still have not made entry to the home to better evaluate the interior of the structure. To date, we have received one bid for removal of the home and cleanup of the property. 2 other contractors have been contacted, and we are awaiting those bids. I believe those should be in by next week.
I mean,
What was
that's
his
pretty-
final opinion?
He just said that progress has been made, but there still is a significant amount of
Yeah, I'd like to
debris.
know where the stuff went.
Did it go in your dumpster? Or did you pull that?
I pulled it after a week.
Yeah.
There was nothing in it, nothing substantial, a couple ride-on toys, probably from the park next door. So I did pull it out of there. What concerns me is, I'm great with that progress if that stuff went to a dump facility. If they just took it from the front yard
Yeah.
and put it around the backyard or to the backyard of the home next door, then we're really not.
Yeah.
we're
I
not-
wish
we're
they
not-
were here.
Right, I don't know, just,
But considering we were still waiting for 2 more bids, that's next week, do we just extend it 30 days?
Yeah.
I mean,
If you want-
the fact of the matter is, and I
Definitely looks a
hope
lot
we're
nicer.
clear that, you understand, that house has to come down. The difference is whether she takes it down and gets the money for selling the land, or if we have to basically seize it and sell it to
Yeah,
pay it off.
I don't think.
That
she
house is coming
understands.
down.
Yeah, and I don't think she understands that. I
Yeah,
really
everything on that property is coming down, one way or the other.
Well,
It just
we
depends
don't-
on,
But we don't know that because you can't make entry to determine whether or not, I mean, us,
what they've already
as
talked about with the
outsiders look-
ceilings coming down and all
The
that.
roof looks like it's caved.
I get that,
in.
but, I mean, do we make that decision? I mean, somebody has to make entry, I would think.
The building inspector.
Well, and that's
ultimately
Dwayne's
makes-
fear, is that it's gonna be a fireman
Right, but
and find out the hard way.
Yeah.
But if
according
they,
to Mark, he hasn't been able to make entry to determine. So, I mean,
yeah,
we can say, yeah, it's gotta come down, but, I mean, what if he gets in there and says, well, that could be fixed, or that could be fixed? Then
Somebody want to make a motion, give her another
I think
30
we
days,
should-
or what do you want to do?
some more information.
Yeah, I'd suggest that we wait till we get the additional bids in, and then we address it.
Which would give her 30 days.
You don't want to take no action?
And I wanna know where the
Exactly.
stuff went.
yeah. So
No
hopefully
action.
maybe we can ask
No
her
action taken.
to be here.
Town hall expansion. Requested bid.
So this is, you guys know, we've been working on these plans for some time, longer than you'd like.
Yeah, I thought it'd been built by now myself.
So, at this point, the plans are 99% done. Just some final little things with the audio-visual stuff looking at, wrapping up the final language to go out to bid. Basically, just need a motion from the town board to go out to bid and start
Are
collecting.
you happy with everything?
So, yeah.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Traffic study.
Is that timeline, Brian? The way it worked.
How are you tonight?
Anna Moran with VHB. Thank you for having me tonight. I have a very brief update on the traffic study.
Thank you.
Which is essentially that we've been working with town staff. We've provided a draft report. We're working on addressing their comments. We anticipate having that final draft report within about a week for you all to then start seeing and respond to. We can sit down with you all as necessary, small meetings in order to go through those findings. But everything is being progressed at this point.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
You betcha.
Thank you.
Speed limit request, King Road, Route 50 North.
I'm not sure if that was a fatal accident or not.
I heard it was.
Okay.
Edie Road for Route 50 to Saratoga Springs City Line, Loudon Road from King Road to Saratoga Springs City Line. And I also would like to put a 4-way stop sign at Ruggles and Loudon. And when you send these requests in, tell them the problems we're having. I think we had a fatality. Was it, Mike?
I believe so, yesterday.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And the growth in those areas.
On the Edie Road one, can we extend that all the way up to Ballard Road?
I believe there was already a traffic study done.
Continue it on all the way, city to end to end.
The one on Edie is definitely gonna be a...
Go from Edie to Ballard
When the school buses come out of that
to
intersection.
the Saratoga Springs city line, okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
I live off of Edie,
Change that.
from Route 50 to Ballard Road, it's 55 miles an hour. That's crazy.
Just put the sign.
Somebody want to make a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
And second?
Loudon, King
Don't
Road,
they make magnet signs you can just stick over the ones that are
King
there?
Road, city line on Loudon.
From, yeah.
It's from
So
the
Loudon
residences.
intersects with King, correct?
Do it on Smithbridge Road, come on.
Got it.
No, I can't.
The way I'm
Somebody, did you get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes, yeah.
Opposed? Carried. Reappoint Ken Bishop, 8/1/2024, 7/31/2027. That's a Park and Rec Commission.
Yes.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Two appointments to the Park and Rec Commission. Brett Pollock, 9/5/24, 7/31/2027. Bob Garnett, 9/5/2024, 7/31/2027.
Make a motion to make those appointments?
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Fee waiver, 7th Annual Dan Provis Memorial Walk. You know, that's a good cause. A lot of people with addictions out there today, and they do raise some money, and I would truly like to help them.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Fee refund for Gavin Park Pavilion rental, how do you say that? Ovarian
Make that motion as
cancer.
well.
I'll second
All
that.
right, I know the girl putting that on, she's a cancer survivor twice. She helps all kinds of people, get them through the treatments and explains, and it's a very important thing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Proposal law number 3, 2024 tax override for Wilton ambulance. I'm gonna let Maria speak about that.
Sure.
She would.
Absolutely. So the Wilton Emergency Squad met with the town of Wilton about a week and a half ago to discuss a draft of their upcoming 2025 budget. And they had shared several factors that need to be addressed to operate sustainably, to provide the high level of service that they've been providing thus far. The squad finds it necessary to override the 2% tax cap for 2025 in order to reach that goal. The ambulance district is a special district within the town, so therefore the special district taxes are levied underneath the town of Wilton's levy. They're nothing more than a pass-through from us. We don't report any revenue in our budget whatsoever. But the town would be the entity that would have to override the tax cap because it is under the town's levy. So it's very important to note that this is just going to be for 2025. So every year that the Wilton Emergency Squad finds it necessary to override the tax cap, the town is going to have to enact a local law every year to do that. It's not an indefinite item.
And me and Maria met with them, and I explained they got the same problem we do. Inflation's out of control, the same as our residents, and they're losing money.
I'll make a motion to set October 3rd at 7 PM public hearing for the proposed local law number 3.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Committee reports.
Just a quick one. Ryan and I, along with folks in the LA group and folks from DEC, met on August 20th to discuss some of the finer points and details about the project along Northern Pines Road with the new trail and the fishing station. Meeting went well. DEC didn't have any, major objections to what we want to do. The official application is underway, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm optimistic.
Now, that's going in our property where the county put the culvert in.
Yes.
It's going in there?
Yes,
Good.
but not till 2025.
No, but good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and also, test boring is going to be done for where the platform would be for fishing along the stream sometime in the next week or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I do. So I attended, Granicus had a short-term rental seminar a couple weeks ago. It was more of like a national picture, but they did talk about the state of New York. A couple of the slides, they're talking about short-term rental market is nearly impossible to track. Yates County, New York collected $172,000 in 6 months in tax and occupancy tax. In the state of New York, Governor Hochul still has not signed it, but some of the highlights is that there will be a state registry for towns or municipalities that have an existing registry will be grandfathered, but you still have to kind of go under the state guidelines. It formalizes tax collection. It allows local ordinances, meaning even though it's a state registry with local homes going on the registry, we can, as a municipality, have immediate enforcement. So we can also go on and tell the state of New York, like, that house is done. So that's still kind of working it out. Empowers local government to enforce state law. I just read that one. Data sharing and platform responsibility. So part of it is they're trying to make these platforms responsible for also sending the information in to the state of New York, which then will trickle down to us. It's not often that I would agree with the state of New York having oversight, but I think this is actually a better way of the state registry versus us having to try to track everybody down, make sure that they're on the register and collect everything and then disperse it. It may be easier because we don't have our own law enforcement. You know, to show up, it'd be neighbors calling. They were saying like the zoning or code enforcement can get involved. The other interesting thing, which we've talked about before too, is a residential property is now becoming a commercial use. So it's going to have to fit under the guidelines that the state gives for fire code and egress and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing they talked about, how our assessor is going to look at the property when it comes to property tax, now that it's a commercial versus residential. And once we have the registry and we can look and see which houses and how many are being used, it may be something that the assessor's office has to take a look at, which I'm not super keen on that. However, the state, they're also making sure that everybody's paying their fair share, that some are registered doing the right thing and others aren't. You know, they've all got to do it. So it's just something that we're going to have to think about moving forward. How is the town we want to handle that?
You're still willing to be the liaison?
Yeah. There's still a lot of gray area, but I'm trying.
You wish, pick another board member, but I'd appreciate it if you'd keep right on it. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
We had the bands in July and August at Gavin Park. There were big hits. We had a lot of positive feedback, so maybe something we should do again next year.
I missed one other thing. I met 2 weeks ago with Katie Coons, the town historian, and her Historic Preservation Committee about different historic properties, about their budget. Maria and I had a couple of phone conversations related to that, and also about initiatives related to the preservation of historic properties in town and the property tax benefits of improving those properties. So, and I talked with Tina in the assessor's office about that as well. So the historian's office is on the right track, doing good work.
And I'd like to thank from the building department, Scott, Roy, and Andy, the great work they've done around the senior building there with the Historical Society in the backside. They've done a nice job. Maria, you're up with your controller report. And Mike, I thank you for these blacktop looking good on the other roads. Doing a good job.
Thank you.
So our first category for the comptroller's report is our budget transfers. Items 1 and 3 are related in that the 2024 budget was adopted with a $70,000 appropriation for milling and paving of the town parking lot, a larger swath than what is now contemplated because we're going on with the wash bay situation. Doing this wash bay project is going to necessitate digging up and doing culvert work or catch basins, digging up catch basins. So instead of paving now and then having to, break up chunks of blacktop after we've just paved, Scott has indicated that he'd rather do a smaller portion of the parking lot, which will be by the highway shed, maintenance shed, and it will create about 3 or 4 additional parking spots, which will be equivalent to what we lost when we put in the electronic charging stations. So we'll be, net zero there in terms of spaces, but that's good. So instead of $70,000 appropriation, we're going to have a $12,000 appropriation, but because we're changing it from a 0.2 to a 0.4, we do need a budget transfer to transfer that money to the 0.4. Because it's no longer a capital item. It's not 70,000, it's only 12,000. We don't capitalize at 12,000. The second item is related because now that remaining 70 is being broken up into these 3 categories. So we're taking some of that old $70,000 and we are going to use 10,000 of it for irrigation inside in front of the senior center so that the grass is improved and that there's a better walkway in front of the senior center, especially for the seniors who are using it and for our elections that take place there. And then the third and final item is the fire alarm panel and the flooring in the highway garage, a combined total of $48,000 for those 2 items.
Do anyone
Is that it?
want to make a motion, the budget transfers 1 to 3?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfers.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. The second category on the comptroller's report is increasing items for revenue and expenditures. So item 1, we're increasing interest and earnings, and we're leveraging, again, I say it every month, the higher level of interest that we're earning on our investments to cover some of these incidental expenses as they arise. So we're going to do a flooring project to the tune of $3,601. The second item is also leveraging interest and earnings so that we can fund the maintenance, the removal of trees on Highgate Road. The third item is, and the third and the fourth items are related because they relate to the capital project that we're going to be doing with McLaren for the wash bay. This is for the engineer's fee. So we're taking money from our ARPA funds in the general fund, we're transferring it to a capital projects fund that we're going to set up specifically for that project, and we're going to use it for financing the engineering services. Then item 5, lastly, is the anticipated invoice that we're going to be getting for tree removal on Jones Road, and we're going to be using unused overtime in the highway department salaries for road maintenance.
Do you want to make a motion, those amendments?
I'll make a motion to approve budget amendments 1 through 5.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Item 3. Okay. Item 3 is our annual
Did you make that motion?
board vote to take the sales tax in the
Think so.
form of cash versus a credit on a levy.
It still stands.
It still
You have
stands.
a second?
I'll make a second to cash.
All in favor?
Large bills.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Thank you. And the last item is personnel. Julianne Labreche has resigned from the position of senior clerk for the building department effective August 19th, 2024, and the board is asked to accept her resignation.
I'll make a motion to accept Julian's resignation.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
They have somebody to replace or no?
Any opposed? Carried.
We have it.
She was a great loss. She was a great employee.
Yes.
Did they find somebody to replace?
We've been
Yeah.
interviewing. Today's there were 2 interviews.
Good. You want to make a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved.
Second, okay, all in
Good
favor?
Lord,
Carried.
7:20. Just changed to 7:29.
You almost got it, Chief.